we went around the Coventry and it was twilight. It was really hot and just beautiful light. And we used the 35 and the 50 0.95s.
Yeah.
And we had a really great time with using them.
Yeah.
But the 50 we reviewed, wide open, it was not so good, was it? It was foggy, and there was a few other things.
A bit quirky.
But we love the look once you can get it.
Has it got a clickable aperture ring? Is it clicking though? I can't hear it clicking. Oh, yeah, it can.
Yes. So the build and handling is really impressive. So this is a 320 gram lens.
Okay. Last Nikon lenses we bought was a little pancake 40mm. Was that about 170? So it's got a little bit of weight in it compared to that, I suppose.
But remember the 50 version of this was...
Oh yeah, that was really chunky. I mean, there is some weight in that, but it does sort of make it feel well made.
It does.
So
that's the other thing. This feels premium. It's a combination of metal and high grade plastic. Yeah. It balances well on all the cameras, especially the ZF, which I've used it with.
Yeah.
Clickable aperture, has the hyperfocal markers. The focus spring pulls nice and smoothly, not too fast, just right, because you need it to be precise. But the problem with it, so it's a DX lens.
Right.
So you'll have, but it's not a fully DX lens.
Oh, so it doesn't automatically turn your camera into DX?
No.
Oh, so, okay.
Because there's no electronic contacts.
Right, yeah. Okay.
The camera doesn't know what's there.
So it's still a 35mm on a full frame?
Yes.
But have you got sort of a bit of a vignetting around it then?
Yeah, it's like it's a weird vignette. So I've tested DX mode and then this without the DX mode, and I've cropped in, getting rid of the bad areas. Yeah. And it's much wider than the DX. Right. So I would say it's about a 40mm.
Yeah. Because in DX mode it'd be about 52mm.
Yeah, which is a lot different.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to use it in full frame mode and then just crop out the bits.
Because you've got a wider...
a bit of an annoying thing, I suppose. But that's the problem with it. The build is DX lens, but that's made it really super light.
As it's quite small for 0.95, etc. What are the results like? Is it sharp?
I think it's one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used.
Really?
Yeah. Even at 0.95, I found it because it's effectively a 40mm.
Yeah.
I tested against the 40mm f2 we've got.
Yeah.
And this is sharper.
Okay.
Even at 0.95.
So let's compare it to the Viltrox 35 1.8, both 35mm. So compared to the Viltrox lens, the Brightin lens is really sharp. If I was going to put the Brightin lens at 1.8, you can see the Brightin lens is incredibly sharper. And they both display chromatic aberration. You can see purple fringing here on the highlights. But it's not too bad. You kind of expect that from lower budget lenses. Yeah, at 2.8, the Viltrox lens is really sharp again, so it's kind of caught up. So let's compare it to the Nikon 40 f2, and wide open on both of them. The Brightin lens is a tad sharper. The Nikon lens is quite soft, wide open at f2, and considering the Brightin lens is at 0.95, it's very impressive from Brightin. Okay, f2, the Brightin lens is very similar to 2.8 on the Nikon 40. So these are both on f4 now, and I would say very similar, but actually still give it to the Brightin lens for sharpness. Seems to be one step ahead at all apertures that they can share.
It's great. The image containment, it's clean, it's sharp, there's no massive image rendition problems.
Wow. But now then, I've just got to remember, it's manual focus, though.
Yeah.
So,
slight problem.
I was just thinking I'm going to stick my 40mm on eBay now, but I'm not.
But yeah, so obviously that's the hindrance with it. But with the sharpness wise, no, I'm so impressed with this. Wow. But I think it's because it starts at 0.95, and by the time you drop down, obviously prime lenses get sharp as you drop down. It's there.
What about image rendition?
Which is always a bit of a problem with budget lenses.
Yeah.
This suffers with some really strange distortion that you pointed out, and I didn't even, because I sent you stuff.
Yeah, but you were taking photos like at about minimal focal distance of your face. which, you know, when
But I didn't notice that. That's why I always send you these
what do you
samples.
mean? You're always looking in the mirror at yourself. How did you not notice that?
The distortion is really odd. It's like an hourglass, so it goes bigger at the top, then narrow,
Yeah.
and then out.
It did look really weird.
So I look like a pumpkin.
Yeah, but that's you don't take photos of people's faces with 35 mil, 20 inches away, do you? So
It's not. And the Viltrox lens has that quite bad, and the Nikon lens 40 mil was actually quite good.
yeah,
This is the Brightin lens versus the Nikon 40. These are both shot at minimal focal distance. And you can see how close you can get with the Brightin lens. But obviously my face is distorted. So with the 40 lens, I think that's more realistic representation of how I look. But it's a bit longer focal length, so it's going to be more realistic in that respect. And of course, if you shoot at minimal focal distance, you completely blur out the background at 0.95. I can't tell what's going on at all in the background. But with the 40 lens, sure, there's a lot of separation, but you can make out things like you can see my frame there and things on the mantelpiece. So when I go further back with the Brightin lens, the distortion is less prevalent, obviously. And I would say the distortion has leveled up a bit more now. Still different than the Nikon lens, obviously. And then, of course, the background separation. I would still say the compression with the Brightin lens is nicer.
In the city, we're doing portraits of ourselves, aren't we? And it's a bit edgy, I would say. Shooting at 9.95.
what does edgy mean?
It's a bit, yeah. With a wider, obviously the wider focal lengths, you're not going to get that amazing depth of field separation anyway, are you? Image compression, this kind of thing.
No.
But it is nice. It's definitely noticeable from a 1.8.
What's the colours like?
I really like it.
All good.
It has, dare I say, the F-mount image rendition.
Oh, F
So,
mount. You love the F mount.
Yeah, so the Z-mount glass is a bit cooler, more clinical, right? We've known that for a long time. This has warmer colour tones, comparable to my F-mount glass.
Right.
It's straight out of camera. You know, obviously you can change it in editing, but straight out of camera, this has warmer image rendition, richer colours.
Nice.
Again, this is quite really impressive.
After hearing all of that,
Yeah.
what would you actually use it for then?
I mean, I really enjoy using it around twilight because it's obviously low light capable, 0.95.
So it's street. You'd
Street
use it for
photography, street and travel.
but you'd probably have to do sort of zone focusing.
I didn't struggle because it's even because it's a wide focal length. Even at 9.5, we used your idea of pressing the red record button to zoom in 100%.
To zoom in, yeah.
And you can see the focus. That I find I never really struggled with the focus.
I know, but if you wander around trying to snatch quick things, you
you can't do it.
You can't do it.
No.
So
I mean, but it's a different style of shoot. So obviously you don't use it for wedding photography, and I can't use that. But if I want completely,
go on.
Okay. But it's a different style of shoot. So when I've got time, you're in that kind of patience, you don't want a leisurely shoot. I would happily use this wandering around doing like street and travel.
Right.
I'm happy to use it because it's so small and light as well. So now, the price.
Now I'm allowed to ask. How much is it then, Russ?
£190.
Wow, okay. So I'm comparing that with my Nikon 40mm, which we got for 215.
It's
So
about the
price.
same price. Yeah.
So would you buy that instead of the 40mm f2?
It'd be a hard decision.
Would it?
I think. Well, I'm going to Venice in September.
Right.
And I've got a real dilemma of what lenses to take because I'm not going for a photography shoot. I'm going as a holiday. I think 40 is a bit too. Well, this is effectively a 40 as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I think they're different use cases.
But then you get nice image rendition, nice colours.
Yeah.
Sharp when you need it.
Yeah.
So
it's really difficult to compare this to anything else.
What you need to do for the channel is take both of them. Forget this, it's not a photography holiday. Every holiday, let's face it, the first question whenever we're going away is what camera, what lens you're taking.
I'm really going to still...
Even when it's officially not a photography holiday.
Because Venice is a strange place because it's quite wide vistas, but narrow alleyways.
Yeah.
So you kind of need something wide and, I don't know.
So you're going to have to think about that, aren't you?
But so I've really enjoyed the 0.95 experience. It does make me look at things and think, what can I do with the image compression and the look? And it does have sort of really good sharpness and colour and rendition. It's a really fun lens to use. So it definitely gets my stamp of approval. And if you don't have one, I'd really recommend, if you want that experience, that different experience, I definitely recommend it. What do you think about it? Because I know you're a bit different.
Well, it's niche, isn't it? It's niche. And a bit quirky.
Yeah.
I can't say I wouldn't approve of it, because if you're looking for that sort of thing, then it sounds like it's a really good buy and it's a good price. It's not for me, partly because I've got the Q2 for wandering around street, and that's 28mm f1.7. I mean, if it was a choice between that and the Nikon 40mm f2, I'd have to go for the Nikon, I think, just because of the autofocus, etc. So, but I appreciate it. I like it. It's obviously well made. It feels nice. It will look good on your ZF. Really I'm sure. And I know with you it's all about the look.
Yeah, who cares about the result? It's
exactly.
All about
£200 to get something as good as that. It's
really, really impressive. Yeah, so there we go. I hope it's been helpful. And have you guys got one? Have you found other makes that have been as good as this?
Has anyone got one?
Yeah. Well, there's lots of makes of these kind of cheap budget lenses, and then they're usually not very good. So I'm interested to see if other people have other brands, because TT Artisan have they're quite expensive 0.95s and lower aperture lenses. So it'll be interesting to see how that compares to it. But okay, there we go.
Thank you. See you
next time.